Welcome back to another episode of Sports with a Z and a T. I'm Bryce Zielinski alongside Taylor Lattimore. We are presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by Mohawk Honda and Saving Face Barbershop. Hope everybody had a safe and happy 4th of July. I had a very wet and cold 4th of July that got ended abruptly. I went up camping Friday morning and was back by Friday afternoon because my site was underwater. So,
well, there you go.
Waiting for my refund back on that. And we're
How American.
How American. Waiting on a refund. And we're going to try again in August. This was probably the coldest 4th of July I could remember. 4th of July itself wasn't bad, but the weekend was horrible. But, you know, my friends, they stayed down here at the apartment in the old CP, Clifton Park. And, you know, we made
CP3, not to be confused.
We had plenty of alcohol, which I guess is the important thing. We had all this alcohol and all this food for camping, and we had to fit it into my apartment, which was not the plan. But hey, we made it work. We're going to try again in August. But yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, well, I had a pretty good one. I didn't do much over the weekend, but on the day of, hung out with some friends, had some drinks, had some dogs. You know the deal. Played some can jam and
speaking of
cornhole.
Speaking of dogs, how American is Joey Chestnut?
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
Absolutely, 76 hot dogs. I don't think I've eaten 76 hot dogs in my life.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And for anyone who's interested, you can check out Levac and Gaz' conversation with Joey Chestnut that they had a couple days ago, among other things on Godzilla Media. Check it out. But yeah, I watched that too, and that was just absurd. Did you watch it at all, or did you just hear it?
Well, I was around, so yeah, I had.
Did you watch the chugging competition?
The lemonade. The lemonade. Of course, I had to watch the lemonade. He finished a jug. That guy finished a jug of lemonade in what, like a gallon of lemonade in under 30 seconds. It was like under 30 seconds.
Something like that. It was absurd. And the guy he was up against, he tried his hardest, but he stood no chance. He was spilling all over himself too.
It was one big boy against an average man. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it definitely. He looked outclassed because he was like dribbling all over himself, and he was slow. And the other guy took a break in between just to be like, put it down, put it like the belch of a century, and then finish the second half of it. It was impressive.
I don't know how these people do it, but God bless them. And God bless America for that being a tradition. I don't know how that became to be, but hey,
you got to be the goat of something, right? So Joey Chestnut, the goat of eating hot dogs.
Yeah, congratulations to Godzilla Media favorite Joey Chestnut for yet again breaking your own world record. How big of an ego?
That's not where I thought we were going with that.
No,
how big of a shit does it?
Well, how bad do you think he feels the next day? How bad? How rough do you think the next day is?
He might just go into like a food coma. I feel like because at that point, I feel like you're good for the next week. 76 hot dogs. That's so many hot dogs.
Makes me not hungry thinking about all those hot dogs. But I digress. We'll get to real sports now.
Hey.
Well, we'll get to the biggest topic in the nation right now, and that is the NBA Finals, which actually resume Tuesday night, which is when we record. So as this episode drops, you will know the result of game one. But we're going to give our full breakdown, and we predicted as such. I think we both leaned towards the Suns and the Bucks. Obviously, the roads to the finals weren't easy for the Bucks, to say the least, and the Suns kind of had their way with the Clippers, which was a little surprising, but here they are, and these are two teams that really stuck in long title droughts. The Suns, first of all, have never won an NBA championship. And the Bucks' last ring came in 1971 when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson were part of the team. So it's been a while, and this is, there's several headlines going into this. You have Chris Paul, 16-year vet, first appearance in the NBA Finals ever for him. You have Devin Booker in the finals. You have DeAndre Ayton. The storyline surrounding the Bucks and how much is Giannis Antetokounmpo going to play, we don't know. I mean, he's listed as questionable for game 1. You'll know if he plays or doesn't play when the show airs, but that's going to be a storyline throughout the series. Even if he plays game 1 or doesn't play game 1, it's going to be a storyline. Each and every night is Giannis going to play, and that's going to have a massive impact on this series. So when you're really looking at this series, it's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a war, and I'd be surprised if it doesn't go at least 5 or 6 games. I don't see it being a sweep. I think this series deserves to be 7 games. I just think they match up well. There's questions surrounding both teams, how they got there. You have those people out there that are doubting the legitimacy of this title, which I don't get. I mean, this has been a tough year for everyone. So I guess my only concerns are, and I'm looking more at the Suns. This is a Suns team that, everybody is saying was the most consistent team throughout the entire playoffs, looked like the best team in the entire playoffs. However, this is a team that beat the Lakers without Anthony Davis, beat the Nuggets without Jamal Murray, beat the Clippers without Kawhi. Now, they could have still beaten those teams, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the Suns, but I am a little bit. Like, true, and you're about to face the Bucks without Giannis, more or less. And if Giannis plays, definitely not 100%. I have my reservations about the Suns. I think at full health, the Bucks should handle the Suns. But with that being the case, this is a tough series to break down.
Yeah. Well, first off, it's going to be fun because, as you mentioned, the playoff droughts for both teams, you also have no matter which team wins, no one who's playing has won a ring before. So this is completely new water for everyone. And it's Devin Booker's first playoff run, along with DeAndre Ayton, obviously, and Bridges. And on the Bucks side, it's not that many people's finals. PJ Tucker's almost gotten there, but he hasn't played in the finals, and obviously Giannis hasn't played in the finals. I don't think, no one has played in the finals, I don't think, on either team. And so so it's gonna be fresh, which is gonna be fun. But yeah, it's very tough. I'll be the first to admit that back when we made our playoff predictions,
well, you had the Lakers in the finals, so
I said Suns in 5 or Lakers in 5 over the Suns. And I thought that the Suns would not even come close to this. And I had the Lakers in the finals, obviously, which I'll stand by. If they were healthy, they would have. But I digress. The Suns are here. And, you can only beat who's in front of you. It's a cliche, but it holds true. If, you play a team and they have their star player injured, that's not your fault. You just play whoever's in front of you. You play to the best of your ability. And, the Nuggets weren't missing their best player. They had Jokic. They were missing, obviously, their second best player, Jamal Murray, who they sorely missed. And Lakers, obviously, they were banged up, both LeBron and Anthony Davis. Even though LeBron played, he wasn't really himself. And Anthony Davis, the first couple of games he played, it looked like the Suns were on the brink when they were down 2-1. And then missing Kawhi, the Clippers still put up a pretty good fight. They couldn't take it all the way. They couldn't push it all the way to 7 and have it be like a real do or die situation. But, you give credit to the Clippers in that. So yeah, the Suns have questions, but I think they have earned their respect at this point. And especially with the health of Giannis being what it is, which we don't even know what it is. He was doubtful earlier today, and then upgraded from doubtful to questionable. And it looks like he's really pushing hard to play. But from what I'm hearing, it's mostly like Giannis is pushing to play because Giannis obviously wants to play. The coaching staff and the medical staff is kind of hesitant, I think, to have him play, because even if he does play, I think it's not going to be Giannis is coming out, he looks fine. It's going to be a James Harden trying to come back from his hamstring injury, or Anthony Davis trying to play through his groin injury. Like, it's going to be I'm not 100%, or even Trae Young trying to play with the bone contusion. Like, he didn't look like himself in that last game, and it's going to be, I think, that kind of situation. Even if Giannis does come back, I just don't see him getting to 100% at all. Maybe if he didn't play until like game 4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, to me, this is the biggest single factor of the entire finals is the health of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, that's going to dictate where this series goes, I think. I mean, you look at Giannis as one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant two-way player in the world. He can compete near his normal levels, and Milwaukee would probably win this series, but that's going to be a big if. And if Milwaukee has the best player in this series, that's great. But like you said, how effective is he going to be on a hyperextended knee? It's hard to see how the Bucks win a title without him, or even a limited Giannis. Even though, I mean, look, this is a guy, 2 MVPs, a Defensive Player of the Year. Nobody else in the finals really has the aura and the resume of a Giannis. I mean, he is definitely would be the most dominant player in this series. You look at him on offense, and he immediately provides the Bucks with the greatest interior scorer in the NBA right now, maybe outside of him and Joel Embiid. I don't know who else. Him and Jokic.
Zion's pretty good. Zion's
up there as well. But
honestly,
I'm still looking for Zion to, make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I know that. But if you put Zion in the paint, he shoots like 68%. So
correct. He's willing to drive the rim, and he's willing to take the shots, unlike Ben Simmons, who is working on his individual development with his new bay at Wimbledon. But hey,
I saw that. That was funny. But I mean, Giannis at least will take the shot, even if it takes him 13 seconds to get it off.
Right. But, if he can be even 75% with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday playing the way that they've been playing, I still lean towards the Bucks. I like how Chris Middleton has stepped up. He's been really the Bucks closer this year. Drew Holiday playing at a high level as well. And look, on defense, Giannis is equally as vital. I mean, like I said, Defensive Player of the Year. He can guard anyone on the Suns. He can guard CP3. He could guard Ayton if they decide to go smaller. It's going to come down to how available is he. The best ability is availability, and I'm not so sure he's going to be that available, and that's where you look towards the Suns and what they can do to a team. If a team can't step up defensively, you have CP3 and the way he drives that offense. You have Devin Booker, who has been absolutely lights out. You have Ayton, who's taken to a whole other level. Now, it'll be interesting to see how he faces up against a Giannis or a Brook Lopez if Giannis plays, but Brook Lopez, even Middleton will probably see some time with him as well. You look at the bench that has been surprisingly good for them as well with Cameron Payne. This is a Suns team that's playing hot, playing well, playing together. You can't doubt them yet. I mean, I had them losing to the Clippers, but when I saw how they were playing against the Clippers, I changed real quick. The Suns have been the most consistent team and the most healthy team in the entire NBA postseason, and I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, health is obviously going to be, as it has been this whole season, one of the most defining, factors when it has come down to picking these games and predicting these series. The healthiest team has won. In fact, all the way up this, like the whole series on both sides. Because if you look at the Nets and the Bucks series, who do we all think was probably going to win heading into that? The Nets. Who came out of it? The healthier team, the Bucks, the team that didn't suffer the injuries until the next series. And then honestly, the Bucks played great in Game 5 and Game 6. of the Hawks series because, Giannis went down and it was suddenly like, oh, but Trey was down too. So it was like, oh, well, are we going to be able to pull through and have, Middleton and Brook Lopez step up and Drew Holiday step up? And they did. They stepped up. They played great basketball, team basketball. I think the one argument you can make for, I hate the argument that everyone makes sometimes when superstars go down and they're like, oh, well, this team looks so much better without him. It happened when Kevin Durant went down a couple of years ago in the playoffs, and then they, Curry and Clay led team ended up like destroying the Portland Trailblazers, and everyone was like, oh, this team's so much better without KD. They should just play without him. It's like, that's ridiculous. And saying that the Bucks are better without Giannis is ridiculous. Come on now. They may have played a little bit better because, they had a little more spacing because he doesn't space the floor as well and other guys can play as well. But you need to have, you want to have the superstar player. Like, you cannot make the argument in good faith that the Bucks are legitimately better without Giannis because Giannis is one of the top 5 to 10 players in the league. But that being said, even with Giannis, I don't know that it makes a ton of difference. I mean, if you go back to the regular season, and albeit it is the regular season, Giannis scored a total of 80 points with an insane 68.2 true shooting percentage, the 2 games that the Bucks played against the Suns. He was getting downhill and carving up their defense and like isolating on even DeAndre Ayton because Ayton can't truly guard him. So Giannis does dominate against the Bucks, but those 2 games are
Phoenix
against the
won.
Suns. Yeah, those 2 games, Phoenix won, albeit by a combined 2 points because it was a 1-point game both times.
Yep.
The second game went to overtime and it was 128, 127, 125, 124 was the first game. First game, they didn't have Drew Holiday yet, or he didn't play. So I don't know what his impact will be, except the second game he did play. He scored like 20. Let me see. I can pull it up right now. I have it. He scored 25 points and they still lost by 1, but still lost. So, it's going to come down to whether he's healthy and then the strategy that Mike Budenholzer puts together to go up against Monty Williams, who I think if you're looking coach for coach, I think we both would agree that we think Monty Williams is the better coach than Coach Bud. So, yeah, it's going to be close, but I think at this point I'm done doubting the Suns, and I would probably take them in the series. I think it'll be long. I don't think it'll be a sweep or anything like that. I think it'll go 6 or 7. I lean 6 if Giannis doesn't play and 7 if he does. And at that point, if it gets to a game 7 where Giannis is playing and he doesn't look like he's too hampered by his injury, it could go either way at that point. It's a toss-up.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people reference this, that if CP3 loses this finals, that it tarnishes his legacy. I don't understand that. I don't get it.
No.
However, with that being said, this is the biggest stage of CP3's career. I mean, this is his time to shine. And he's the matchup that I'm going to be. I mean, everybody's going to be pointing out the health of Giannis, this and that. But watch CP3 in this series. 16 years to get to the first ever finals appearance for truly an all-time great point guard. One of the last true classic point guards in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's top 5 if you're talking just point guards. He's 5, but I think he's top 5.
Then it's tough. First of all, how you define point guard nowadays, and it's tough how you. That's true. But I'll say safely top 10, just because I don't have the energy to really break down a top 5 right now. I'll say top 10 for sure. Just to cop out and make everybody frustrated. But this,
I'll put it out there. I think it's top 5 because I would think Magic, Steph, Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, and then him, and then Stockton.
Future Sixer, Dame Lillard.
No, he could be up there eventually.
Not yet. But this is this is going to be CP3's time to shine, and he's going to be facing a lot of Drew Holiday, who, in my opinion, is a big-time underrated player in this league. He has earned second all-defensive team nods multiple seasons. He just got another one this year.
Multiple players have said that they believe that he is like the best perimeter defender in the NBA, or at least he's the hardest person that they go up against. So,
and however, with that being said, and that was the point I was going to get to, Drew Holiday is known for being very good defensively. However, he's defended Chris Paul for a total of 25 minutes over the past 4 years, and Paul has dropped 35 points and 13 assists on him. So this is a matchup that if the Bucks want to win this series, they're going to need more out of Drew Holiday in order to beat the Suns, because if CP3 has his way in orchestrating this offense, it's game over, and it's going to be over quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it tarnishes his record if he loses, because
and no, I don't think so either.
Finals losses should never really tarnish your record. We talked about that ad nauseum with LeBron and how it's ridiculous. He gets penalized for it. So I'm not going to penalize CP3 for making it. And if he doesn't win, you get the brownie points just for making there. It would, however, be a perfect cap to, like, you know, this Hall of Fame career that he's had, just to not to say that he's going to retire, because he's not. And in fact, he might get a huge a payday, even though he's 36.
If the Suns don't pay up, guess what?
I've heard a lot about the Knicks trying to go that route. I don't know, but yeah, as someone will pay him probably into his 40/41 season a lot of money, which, you know, more power to him. But I think as the pinnacle of his career, I think it would be great for him if he could cap it off with an NBA championship, just so that he's not one of the, you know, the few who in that rank of, you know, best player to never win a championship, the Karl Malones, the John Stocktons, the Charles Barkleys, all of them. And you don't want to be lumped into them if you can avoid it. And so it would be nice to not have to talk about CP3 as one of the best players ever to not win a championship.
This is the one thing that drives me nuts about the NBA. We're going to be talking about this series potentially for 4 shows. Think about that. We could be talking about this series for the rest of the month of July. Game 1 is tonight, Tuesday. We obviously air on Wednesday. Game 7, if it goes that far, which good chance that it could, is July 22nd.
Wow.
So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's gonna be
2 days in between, like 3 days.
So game 1 is obviously, I've said it multiple times, Tuesday night. Game 2 is Thursday. Game 3 will be Sunday. Then game 4 is July 14th, which I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's a big jump.
That's a big
Sunday to Wednesday.
Thursday to Sunday, and then Sunday to Wednesday. And then you have July 17th is game 5. So Wednesday to Saturday. Game 6 is July 20th. So that Tuesday?
Yeah, Saturday, Tuesday. And then the last game will be
7
on
is
Thursday.
July 22nd is that Thursday. So we're going to be talking about this for a long time. Hopefully it's a good series.
7.
Hopefully it's going to be a fun series. However, we're going to be sick of talking about it after 4 weeks of this. But
hey, this gives us some content.
Does give us content. We are in that time of year, folks. I as much as some people are excited about the Olympics, I cannot dedicate more than maybe 10 minutes on the Olympics. It's just
if something crazy happens,
if it comes up, we'll talk about it. However,
if the USA is dominating, I'm down to talk about it.
I'm warning people now that I am not speaking for Taylor, but me personally, I could give 2 shits about the Olympics outside of basketball, which I know the U.S. is going to dominate, but I'll watch Luka and a couple other stars.
I was going to say, it is very interesting to see how far he can take Slovenia.
The women's soccer team is always a conversation. The U.S. men's soccer team might be a conversation this summer, although I hate soccer. I'll say it right now. I hate soccer. I can't stand it, actually.
What? Get you off the air.
I have remember, we'll go. I want to get to predictions, but it fell perfectly that so I haven't been shy that I don't like soccer. And I don't know many people that do like soccer or even want to talk about soccer. It's just not a thing in the US. And that whether right or wrong.
My boyfriend's going to be mad when he listens to this cuz he likes soccer.
Well, I apologize in advance, but I can't stand it. Were you on air with me, or was it just one of our buddies?
I think it was Eric Hanneman.
Eric Hanneman.
Yeah,
one of our good friends, Eric Hanneman, and I were on air, and he likes soccer, and he threw me a curveball one day. Dropped Christian. Was it Pulisic? Is that his last name? I don't even know.
Yes. You still don't know his name? God damn it.
Christian Pulisic.
The future of
soccer. U.S. soccer. Yeah, I've heard
US
about
soccer.
him so much because he's just such a future of U.S. soccer.
He is.
But we actually aggravated a listener because he's probably some psychopath soccer fan that all he does is wake up at 5 a.m. to watch EuroLeague or whatever.
Oh my God.
And he called into the studio and was like, "How do you guys know who Christian Pulisic is?" Just funny. It just made me laugh. But let's get to a real sport, like I said.
Yeah.
Predictions. What's your prediction? Who's going to be the NBA champion? And give me a Finals MVP.
All right. If I'm putting it down on paper,
you're putting it on the record on air, not just on paper, my friend.
Yes. As much as I want this series to go 7, because I think it'd be fun, I think Giannis doesn't come back full strength. I think the Suns nearly roll, but the newfound Bucks chemistry when Giannis isn't playing, and the way that they're moving the ball, and the reliance on Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday having to step up, I think they extend it. They win a couple games. Suns in 6 with CP3 getting the Finals MVP, because even
steal my thunder. I knew
no matter how good they play, like even if Devin Booker plays relatively well, I think if CP3 plays anywhere close to relatively well, they're going to give it to him anyway.
This isn't good for, a controversial topic. Like, co-hosts aren't supposed to agree with each other, but that's literally what I had in mind all day was Suns in 6, CP3 as the MVP finalist. I just don't see, without Giannis being 100% healthy, even if he plays, you're going to see Giannis in the series, but he's not going to be healthy whether it's game 1, whether it's game 3, whether it's, game
and if he
6.
comes down and they're already down 3, like if it's 3-0 and he's coming back for game 4, it's like, well, they're done.
I just don't see how the Bucks have enough outside of Giannis to beat the Suns, who are playing well right now, albeit we don't really know their full potential because we haven't really seen it yet because they have beaten teams without their stars. I still think Phoenix, I'm done doubting them. Like you said. I cannot take away what they have done, beating the Lakers, Nuggets, and Clippers, staying healthy and making it to the NBA Finals, which is not something the Bucks can say, which staying healthy. So I'm going to go Suns, 6 games, and CP3 is my NBA finalist. And not that there was any doubt in anybody's mind about his legacy status, but that cements CP3 status as a top point guard in NBA history.
Yeah, it's going to be great for him if he does win. I mean, on the other side, if the Bucks surprise us, and we've picked a lot of we picked all of this series, and even as it's developed, we've repicked, and I don't know how many actually we've gotten right. I think we definitely picked
pretty good. Well,
we picked the Bucks over the Hawks for sure.
Yeah. I picked the Clippers because they were my pick.
I picked it was once Kawhi went down, it was obvious that I could pick the Suns and feel good about it. But I thought that if Kawhi came back, which he obviously didn't, that the Clippers had a chance. But and obviously we got the Philly series wrong, and So
did we, Taylor? Did we?
So I don't know. We're probably both gonna be wrong, and it's gonna be the Bucks. We probably just gave the kiss of death actually to the Suns, and they're gonna lose now.
Bucks sweep.
Do you think if Devin Booker, you think he's the second most likely to get the Finals MVP? That's what Vegas has it as, I believe. He is the second highest odds.
Yeah, you're not giving it to DeAndre Ayton.
Probably not.
You're not giving it to Jay Crowder.
I mean, if CP3 gets like a 40-point game in there,
if Devin Booker's averaging somewhere north of 30, 35 points a game and just goes absolutely Steph Curry on everyone, then yeah, maybe Booker gets it. But I don't think Booker has that much. I don't think Booker has that much success without CP3. So
yeah, I mean, if CP3 averages like even low 20s, but his assists are close to 10 or at 10 or above, then yeah, I think he'll get it.
CP3 and Devin Booker averaged 58 points combined in the Western Conference Finals. So expect them to be the main reason why Phoenix wins or doesn't win the NBA championship.
Yeah, it's going to come out of them and Giannis's health, really. But I'm excited. It's going to be new. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be a new champion.
It's new. It's fresh. It's something that we haven't seen. I mean, Phoenix has never won an NBA championship. Milwaukee hasn't won a championship since 1971.
Since before my parents were even born,
So exactly. Back. So, I mean, you're talking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. I mean, that's, pictures were still, black and white. So it's been a while. I think it's going to be a good series. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. We'll have plenty of time, like I said, to talk about it. We'll see where we're at next week. We'll see if we're feeling good about our picks. If
it's a sweep and basketball is over that quick, I'll be sad.
Well, then we have the NBA offseason, and Dame Lillard is one step closer to becoming a Sixer. So
you wish.
Yes,
you
Taylor.
Much do wish.
Yes, Taylor. Very good. I do wish. Yes. MLB All Star game. It's midsummer when we're talking about the MLB All Stars. The MLB All Star rosters were announced over July 4th weekend. There were some surprises, I think. I'll just list off the starters first. The American League, you have Salvador Perez, Vlad Jr., Marcus Semien, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts, Mike Trout, which that's the fan voting. I mean, you voted Mike Trout and he's hurt. He's been hurt for over 2 months now. I don't really understand it. Aaron Judge, who has been about the only Yankee that's decided to show up this year. Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei Ohtani just announced the starter pitching-wise as well. The first ever player to start both in the field and on the mound in MLB All-Star history. So, I mean, he is doing Babe Ruth stuff. Shohei Ohtani, if he's not the MVP, I think everybody needs to riot. He has been so fun
I mean,
to watch.
I don't know what an MVP is if it's not him. He's literally playing both sides of the field.
I don't know how you – right. I mean, outside of a hiccup against the Yankees the other day, but typical Sportz with a Z and a T. I say the Yankees are struggling and they put up a set. I mean, they still lost the game, so I guess I'm still right. But they blasted Ohtani.
That was an anomaly. That was an anomaly if I've ever seen one. Because the Yankees are not that guy. They're not that guy.
So the Yankees only have that one representative. That's Aaron Judge. The American League reserves is Mike Zunino, Jose Altuve, Bo Bichette, Carlos Correa, Matt Olson, Jose Ramirez, Jared Walsh, Michael Brantley, Joey Gallo, Adolis Garcia, Cedric Mullins, JD Martinez, and Nelson Cruz. You have starting pitchers, Shane Bieber from the Indians, Garrett Cole, LOL, because he's been terrible ever since people took the spider tack away from him. Nathan Eovaldi, Kyle Gibson, Yusei Kikuchi, Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon. Relievers, Matt Barnes, Aroldis Chapman, someone else that hasn't been good since the spider tack's been taken away from him. Coincidence? I think not. Liam Hendricks, Ryan Presley, and Gregory Soto. So American League roster pretty stacked. Not very many Yankees, but I don't have many gripes with the American League. My gripe is with the National League roster, but I'll let you give your thoughts on the American League.
No, I mean, I have no problem with it. Nothing really stands out to me as too wrong. I mean, aside from I as a Yankee fan, looking at Aaron Judge on there, and I'm just like, not really doing much for the whole team, but whatever, it is what it is. So, what are your gripes? You move on. What are your gripes with the NL?
All right. Well, I'll announce the National League first, and then we'll get to my gripes. So the National League starters: catcher Buster Posey, which well deserved. Giants first place, great. Freddie Freeman at first.
Can't argue that.
First of all, Freddie Freeman's average is below 250s, which I guess is today's baseball. I get it, but he's been absolutely brutal. Adam Frazier at second, Nolan Arenado at third, Tatis at short. That shocker. Acuna in the outfield, Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker, 2 Reds in the outfield. Reserves: JT Realmuto, Ozzie Albies, Chris Bryant, Brandon Crawford, Jake Cronenworth, Eduardo Escobar, Max Muncy, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Brian Reynolds, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, Chris Taylor. Starting pitchers are Corbin Burns, Yu Darvish, Jacob deGrom. I mean, I don't know if that's a surprise to anyone, but Jacob deGrom is an all-star. Kevin Gausman, Herman Marquez, Trevor Rogers, Zach Wheeler, Brandon Woodruff, with relievers Josh Hader, Craig Kimbrell, Mark Melancon, and Alex Reyes. My problem is this, Taylor, and it's going to make me sound like a homer. However,
oh God, here we go.
Just hear me out on it.
Okay.
Hear me out on it.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Harper was not on the roster, and Manny Machado missed the roster.
I was going to say.
For the second straight All-Star game, Harper and Machado both failed to make it, meaning they're 0 for 2 in the last 2 seasons, because obviously there wasn't one last year since they signed the big contracts. There's arguments made for both, and I'll start with Harper, then I'll go to Machado. So the fans voted in Acuna, Castellanos, and Winker, so they're automatically in. Then the players voted in Mookie Betts, which can't argue against Mookie, Brian Reynolds, and Kyle Schwarber. However, Schwarber has a hamstring strain that's going to keep him out for at least a month. He can't play. So the commissioner's office added Juan Soto and Chris Taylor as outfield reserves. Juan Soto is hitting .279 with 9 home runs, 37 RBI. Taylor is hitting .268 with 10 home runs and 42 RBI. Bryce Harper has played half of those games and is batting .271 with 14 home runs and only 26 RBIs, because all of his 14 home runs have been solo dingers. I have never seen anything like it for Bryce Harper in my life. Harper is a big name. So is Soto. I get it. Although Harper is having a better 2021 than Juan Soto and Chris Taylor. I get the argument, but you're missing one of the better stars and one of the more exciting players, and probably a participant in the home run derby. As for Machado, who, by the way, had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs on Sunday as the rosters got announced, got caught in a numbers game where Nolan Arenado is the starter. Players voted in Chris Bryant. Machado, he's 15 home runs, 57 RBIs, batting .264. Justin Turner was announced as a reserve. Eduardo Escobar was also announced as a reserve. Manny Machado's numbers are better than both. Turner is .295, 13 home runs, 41 RBI. Escobar, .249 for the last place absolute joke, Arizona Diamondbacks, 18 home runs, 54 RBI. I'm sorry, but those are 2 stars that deserve to be in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say Manny Machado. That was one of the ones that stood out to me. And I mean, yeah, it's just like, I feel like it's just a numbers game when it comes down to all these guys. And especially what you said, like Bryce Harper, you look at it, it's like, 26 RBIs, but it's not necessarily his fault that other people aren't getting on base when he's there. Right. And like, his
and
OPS
it's also not his face that he got drilled by a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to the face.
Yeah.
That kept
his
him
OPS
out
is 878, which is very good. His average is a little down if you compare it to like Chris Taylor's at 271 is Chris Taylor, and Harper's at 267, with less at bats, obviously. But I don't know.
And
I think you can make an argument for both, but yeah, I think you'd want to see Bryce Harper as he's a big name guy.
No Max Scherzer. He's 7-4 with a 2.10 ERA, and he's not in the All-Star game. Players voted in the first 5. So DeGrom, that's a lock.
Obviously.
Gausman, very good year. Corbin Burns, okay, I get it. Brandon Woodruff, I'm starting to question. Then Yu Darvish. Now he's having a good year. Don't get me wrong, but he has a 2.65 ERA, giving up more hits, more walks, and less strikeouts than Max Scherzer, who has a 2.10 ERA and has a higher wins above replacement, has given up less home runs, has more strikeouts, less walks, less hits.
Yikes.
They kind of missed the mark on that one for me.
Yeah. Now that you lay all those numbers out there, I'm starting to agree with you on that one. I mean, it doesn't really make sense that he didn't make it over him, honestly.
And I guess I kind of have, like, I'm trying to have an issue with the American League roster, but, like, I mean, the fans voted, and this is why I don't like the fans voting for the All-Star, because they just pick their favorite players. People love Mike Trout. He doesn't deserve to be an All-Star. He's played a month of baseball.
Yeah. I mean, it is an All-Star game, you know? I mean, I don't.
Is it Taylor? Is it called the All-Star game because it's an All-Star game?
All right. We'll put it this way. If in most sports, you know how, like, in the MLB and the NBA, NFL, you list off, like, you know, how many all NBA teams you've made, how many All-Star teams you've made. Yep. And sometimes people bring up All-Star MVPs, like in the NBA. They'll be like, oh, well, this guy won an All-Star MVP for the All-Star game. Like, I don't care about the All-Star game MVP. Like, it's a nothing game. It's a game for fun for the fans.
A lot of people hated it. I kind of liked it, that the All-Star game determined who had. Now, I think that maybe the All-Star game shouldn't determine this, which was, it used to be home field advantage for the World Series. That's a little much. However, I think there should be some incentive for winning the All-Star game, which there isn't anymore, because let me tell you, those All-Star games got intense when it came down to the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, when
it matters like
home field advantage for the All-Star game was on the line. That was fun.
World Series, I mean,
or World Series. Jeez, look at me.
Yeah, but I don't. It's hard to make the All-Star games or the Pro Bowls interesting, because, I mean,
the Pro Bowl's a disaster. Just cancel.
That's what I mean. For me, the Pro Bowl is awful. I never watch it. Like, I just don't care at all. The NBA All-Star game is fun. They've made it more fun lately. I've loved all the new things that they've been trying to do to make it more fun, with the player draft and all that stuff, and then the only every quarter is its own quarter, and they win money or whatever to charity, and then at the end it's like the cumulative score, and then they add whatever, and it's like a race to get to 12 over. I don't know what it is. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's fun. It made it fun. It made the players at least care a little bit and have some type of intensity, especially in, like, the fourth quarter. They got some intensity, but, like, all this the MLB All Star game, especially if it doesn't mean anything, and the Pro Bowl. No.
The jerseys this year are awful.
I haven't looked.
Oh my goodness! If you can look it up while we're doing this, because typically the All Star game, they just wore. If the National League was the host city, then the National League won. Every player won their team's home jersey, and then, say the American League was the road team, everybody wore their road team's jersey, and it just looked cool. They came for some reason, because Rob Manfred hates baseball, another brilliant idea out of the MLB office. They decided to have uniform All-Star game jerseys this year, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're, like, kind of similar to, remember when the MLB came out with those black and white jerseys? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're just gross. I believe these are quite similar.
I think I'm looking at them now. They're like the dark blue for the
Yep.
is that the AL, and then the white for the NL, and then like on the chest it has
it's kind of like written across the chest, and it's
like
a
down
box.
They're like logo, the team's
you got
logo.
Yep.
And then and then down it says like Atlanta's has like the Braves logo, and then it says like ATL down the side.
Yes. You
I
like
mean,
them, don't you?
They're not bad. I've seen worse jerseys. Let's be honest. I've seen where they're not like, I don't know, like brightly colored, someone threw up on them type jerseys, like we've seen in some like NBA All Star games, and I think the NFL Pro Bowls. Some of them have been quite awful. I kind of like these.
Fine. All right. Whatever.
They're subtle and they're kind of simplistic almost, and I like it.
I've
like
seen them get.
color.
I've seen it get roasted on social media. So
I mean, they're not fantastic, but I kind of like them.
Gonna go get an Aaron Judge 2021 MLB All Star jersey then?
I'm literally looking at it right now.
Oh my God.
I'm not that I'm gonna buy it, but I'm just looking at
predict.
it. I'm just looking at it.
Oh my God. Well, while you're doing
I don't know
that,
if I'd want to rep anything Yankees right about now, but
while you're doing that, I'll let our listeners think about how, it's trade-in season for your vehicle right now. And the trade-in market is absolutely booming right now. So every dealer wants your trade-in. And that also means there's a shortage of inventory in the market because everybody wants to buy pre-owned vehicles right now. So you trade in your vehicle, you get your money in your hands, but then what? You don't really have anything to buy in some of these spots. Go to Mohawk Honda, because not only do they give you top dollar for your trade-in, they also have acres and acres of inventory for you to choose from, which is hard to find nowadays. They have the largest inventory of vehicles in the entire capital region, and that means you can choose the one that's right for you. Some other dealers talk about their values, but at Mohawk Honda, they'd rather show you theirs in the vehicle that you choose. They want to know what's right for you, and they value your selection, and more importantly, value what you want and how you're treated there at Mohawk Honda. So don't go and feel pressured into buying something from another dealer because that's just the best they can do. Sounds easy, and you settle. Go to Mohawk Honda and buy the vehicle you deserve. Their vast selection of certified pre-owned vehicles is guaranteed to fit your needs and your lifestyle, not the other dealer's values. Whether you want something to go camping up in the Adirondacks when it's downpouring and, you got a monsoon and you got to get four-wheel drive to get yourself out of there, or you want
get that refund.
Get that refund, or you want something more sporty when you're cruising down the Northway and enjoying the nice summer heat that we've had for only a couple days out of the entire summer. Whatever you want. This summer, selection is king, and no one has more to choose from than Mohawk Honda, where they always go out of their way to please you. Have you decided, are you getting that jersey yet? Did I give you enough time, Taylor? Are you going to buy the All-Star jersey?
$160 for that.
What?
No. That's on Fanatics. It's on Fanatics that I'm looking at. $159.99 plus tax. Obviously, he's going to put it over.
Yeah, we live in the beautiful state of New York, so tax is gonna be nice for
and
you.
Also, once again, I don't know if I want to wear any Yankees anything right now because they're not doing so hot.
Currently sit 10.5 games out of first place in the NL East, and I believe they are now 7.5 out of the last wild card spot. Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone's future is quickly coming to the forefront, and you know it's not a good thing when Howe speaks in front of the media in July. That doesn't happen very often. So that's not good. Yankees are in trouble. We're going to have time to talk about that as the trade deadline approaches. Who knows what they're going to do? Are they going to try to make a move to kind of give them that boost? I don't know what it would be, but I can't be a Kettle Marte. It can't be a Kettle Marte anymore. So they got to figure out something quick, or their season is going to be a lost cause. The Yankees have not had a losing record since 1993. So
they are 500 now, above 500, 42 and 41. hanging on to 500.
They're hanging on, but
I don't think that if Baltimore wasn't god awful, then the Yankees might be looking at the bottom of the AL East. We're lucky that we have the buffer that is the Baltimore Orioles. Sorry, guys. But if they weren't so god awful, then yeah, I think Yankees would be towards the bottom. But I mean, we are there. We are at the bottom. We're just not that bad. But yeah, I mean,
so to get you out of your cranky mood, because talking about the Yankees, let's talk some football, because that's quickly approaching, and that's everybody's favorite time of year. We love football, and fantasy football's coming around.
Hell yeah!
Training camp's about to start. Pro Football Focus, whether you love them or you hate them, I tend to think that they over-exaggerate a lot of things, came out with their power rankings heading into training camp. You want to guess who's number one, Taylor?
The Kansas City Chiefs. No?
Nope. Guess again.
I mean, the Bucks?
Yeah. You have the Bucks at 1. Chiefs at 2, and I'll read off the list, and then you can go. I'll read the top 10 and then the bottom 10. How about that? And then we'll go from there. Bucks at 1, Chiefs at 2. This is Cleveland Browns are 3. Bills are 4. Ravens are 5. Yeah, it's getting ugly real quick. Packers are 6. Rams are 7. Cowboys are 8. Vikings are 9. And I can't even say this one with a straight face.
See the Denver Nuggets.
The Denver Broncos are 10.
Broncos. At 10?
At 10.
Oh my god.
They have the Denver
Gracious.
Broncos at 10. I'll read the final 10. This is why we're talking about this, because I was reading this list and I thought I was reading something out of like 2013. It's like, did Peyton Manning like unretire? And so the bottom 10, Texans at 32, which, yeah, that makes sense. Lions at 31, Jets at 30, the Eagles at 29. Like, I'm sorry. Like, look, I'm not high on my Eagles this year, but they're also not 29. Okay.
Yeah.
Jaguars at 28. Don't see the Jaguars being better than the Eagles. The Panthers at 27. I'd have them much higher. The Raiders at 26. The Falcons at 25. The Bengals at 24. The Bears at 23. The Dolphins at 22. The Cardinals at 21. There's a lot wrong with this list. A lot wrong.
Where should we start?
Where do we begin? I guess let's start with the most shocking to me.
The top?
Which is the top. I mean, as an Eagles fan, the bottom is pretty shocking to me. But the Denver Broncos, they might have one of the better secondaries in football. Michael Edgemedia, A.J. Bouye, Bryce Callahan. You brought in Pat Surtain. You have Ronald Darby, Kyle Fuller, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson in the secondary. However, you have Teddy Bridgewater and or Drew Lock at quarterback. Like, what am I missing here? That offense, it has weapons. If you have a comparable quarterback, it might work. But this Broncos team is not good. You have Drew Lock is projected to be your starter. And then Melvin Gordon is comparable at running back. You have a lot of weapons at wide receiver, a top 10 tight end and Noah Fant, a decent offensive line. but they're not a playoff team. No way.
No way. I mean, if you just look at the quarterback, like, so many questions with Drew Lock / Teddy Bridgewater like that.
It's not even questions anymore. It's so much doubt around Drew Lock.
Yeah, I just don't see them as being guys who can lead your team to the playoffs. And then even if you got to the playoffs, lead you farther than a lot of teams that are underneath them. Like, I mean, Jerry Jeudy is a very good wide receiver, and so is Cortland Sutton. And so if those guys are playing well, you have a good wide receiver core. And Noah Fant's good. Their offensive line, even I'm looking at their own like Pro Football Focus like rankings, like their numbers that they derive or whatever, and like their center Lloyd Cushenberry is a 40.5. I don't know what their number is. It's Pro Football Focus's number. But 40 is not good. I mean, their left tackle Garrett Bowles is at a 90.6, which is really good. But you give them that. But I mean, they're gonna have to rely on their defense, which we've seen the Broncos do it before, where their defense was the best thing about their team, and they were able to win a Super Bowl with that. I mean, they have Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, and then all those guys you just listed off in the secondary, which is gonna be really good, I'm sure, but are they going to be, better than the right underneath them, San Francisco 49ers? I can make a case. They were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and their biggest weakness last year was that their team imploded with injuries.
Was absolutely broken.
Yeah, their team imploded with injuries, and they're going to have, they're going to have those guys back. They're still going to have, George Kittle.
How you going down this list? How do you have the Washington football team at 12? Ryan Fitzpatrick, look, did they have a nice year last year? Sure, but they won a horrible NFC East and didn't do anything to address the quarterback position. Look, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he is what he is at this point. He's not going to take you to the playoffs. He's going to give you an 8-8. I guess you can't say 8-8 now, a 9-8, 8-9 record. Like that's what the Washington football team is. To have them at 12, like, look, they win around that defense. But outside of Terry McLaurin, they don't. I mean, Curtis Samuel's a good addition, but like I want more out of that offense. And Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't help.
The quarterback situation there too is obviously. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick has always been serviceable, and he always will be serviceable.
Right.
But you're relying on that defense. That's what's putting you up there. That's what's getting you to 12. And honestly, I'm kind of okay with where they are. I might put them down to maybe 15, but I kind of like where they're at. I like the Washington football team as a football team, and I think their defense is going to be very good. And if Ryan Fitzpatrick can just play well enough, and with Antonio Gibson playing, hopefully, he was injured last year, I believe. But either way,
I mean, to have
I like Terry McLaurin a lot.
Year in and year out, it doesn't matter who or where. Somebody thinks the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a good football team. It happens every year.
We do this every year.
Look, there's no reason that the passing offense, if healthy, shouldn't be one of the league's best. You have Dak Prescott, who is coming off injury, and you have a stupid amount of receivers. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. You have Zeke in the backfield, but you have an aging offensive line. You have this defense. That offense is good because that defense is so bad. I mean, they have to put up 40, 50 points to win a football game.
Mm-hmm.
The secondary didn't get better. They drafted Calvin Joseph, but and he's going to start opposite Trayvon Diggs. That's an upgrade, but there's a lot of risk relying heavily on a rookie cornerback. It's not, you're going to ask him to go on an island, and not many rookie cornerbacks come into the NFL and succeed. That's very rare to see. 8 of the 20 highest yards per coverage snap marks at the quarterback position belong to rookies in 2020, including Trayvon Diggs in Dallas.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are banking on young players to improve, and it's just not an improvement to me. How are the Cowboys all of a sudden the 8th best team in football?
Also, I'll just put it out there. I know we talked briefly about your Philly being so low, and there's teams above it, but the Colts, come on now. The Colts are not the 14th team. They're not below the freaking Denver Broncos.
They're not below the Titans. They're not below the.
Nope.
They're not below.
I don't think they should be the Washington football team.
They're not below the Broncos.
Not below the Broncos for sure.
I will question how are they. Look, I get why people like the Ravens, and I think that offense is good for the regular season. Colts are better than the Ravens. They are built for the playoffs more than the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, the thing is,
and look, the Cleveland Browns at 3. Look, I want to see the Bills do it a second time. I want to see that it wasn't a fluke. Same with the Browns. I want to see that this wasn't a fluke. Prove to me that you got better and can build off the momentum. This is a lot based on just what we saw last year, as I guess some preseason rankings are, but this is built on a lot of what we saw last year, not what they are now.
That's also what's hurting the Colts, I think, is because a lot of it is because Carson Wentz is rated so low because of last year and the crap that was. So I think by the end of this year, the Colts will be in the top 10. I believe.
I mean, I have not been shy that I think the Colts are a dark horse to not only win they're not even picked to be the favorite to win their division. I think they could win the AFC. I'm not going to say they're going to win the Super Bowl because I think that's going to go to the Bucs or the Rams. But
I mean, I think any team is going to. I'll also segue into another complaint that I have that's small, but still, I think substantial. In that, I don't know if the Colts have enough to beat the Chiefs, who I believe should not be ranked number 2. They should be number 1.
Right? Yeah. No. Look. The question around the Chiefs this year was going to be, did they improve that offensive line? And they absolutely did.
Most certainly did.
They most certainly did. Orlando Brown at left tackle, Joe Tooney at left guard, Creed Humphrey at center. You have Mike Remmers going out right tackle and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif at right guard. This is a team that didn't lose weapons. They did not lose weapons. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. He got Clyde Edwards-Helaire going into year 2. Darrell Williams is a great backup. Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, the whole bunch. Travis Kelce at tight end.
Yeah.
This is a team to be reckoned with. And I say the Colts are my dark horse team because you'd be an idiot not to think the Chiefs aren't the favorite.
Yeah.
Which they are. But very rarely do the favorites slam dunk. Something usually happens, and they don't go where people believe. And I think people are going to be sleeping on the Colts because of the Chiefs. Not to take anything away from the Chiefs, because this is I agree that they should be number 1. But
I mean, the Colts definitely have their issues. Their best wide receiver, their top wide receiver is T.Y. Hilton, who's always injured as of late. So whether he's going to even play a whole season is something you worry about. And their next best with Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell.
Michael Pittman. I do too. Michael Pittman.
I like Paris Campbell as well. He's fast, but some people don't think that he's up there among the elite of wide receivers. Who knows?
Maybe they acquire a Zach Ertz before the season starts.
That'd be cool, because the other thing is that the tight end situation. I mean, Mo Wiley Cox, and he's good. He's not great, but he's good. I mean, Zach Ertz, that'd be fun.
Micah played with the Eagles. Like, look, I mean, we might as well, because it's the elephant in the room. Being 29th.
Elephant in your room.
This is when healthy. Like, look, the Eagles' season comes down to the growth and potential of Jalen Hurts. That's what the Eagles potentially have a very good football team if Jalen Hurts. And I guess you're basing it on, to our point, what Jalen Hurts was last year, which it wasn't encouraging, but there was not much encouraging about what the Eagles were last year. But that doesn't mean they can't be encouraging this year. Miles Sanders is a top 10 running back in this league. Boston Scott's a great spell. You have the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith at wide receiver, Jalen Reagor, God, hope he can do something. Travis Fulgham is another wide receiver, big-bodied guy, was actually one of the better wide receivers in football until, Doug Peterson decided not to throw him the football anymore. Dallas Goedert's a top tight end. The reason why Zach Ertz is on his way out of Philadelphia is because of how well Dallas Goedert has played. And then a very healthy offensive line that, when healthy, is one of the best in football. Mailata at left tackle, in for Jason Peters. But other than that, it's the group that won the Super Bowl. Isaac Seumalo at left guard, Jason Kelsey at center, Brandon Brooks at right guard, and Lane Johnson at right tackle. A lot of the Eagles' problems last year was because it was a ever-revolving door on the offensive line. And then the defense, they have one of the better pass-rushing defenses in all of football. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. They brought in Eric Wilson at linebacker. You have Darius Slay at corner. Rodney McLeod and Anthony Harris. I just don't understand how you could put this team at 29. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to be good. A lot of it depends on growth of young players. But to put them at 29, that's a little harsh for me.
Yeah. Again, all these will change, I think, throughout the year, especially once players start to show that they're not garbage, as some of these rankings have them as. But I don't know. I mean,
for a lot of our
right above it is
for a lot of our New York listeners, I know we're gonna get questions because we mentioned every New York team, but the Giants are 19, middle of the pack.
Yeah, which is probably what they are. Maybe a bit high, but we'll see.
That I don't think they're a very good football team at all, and that's because of Daniel Jones. As long as Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback of the Giants, they're not going anywhere. I don't care how well coached some people think they are. They're not going anywhere with Daniel Jones at quarterback.
But either way, I'm excited. I'm excited for NFL to come back.
Yeah, training camp starts in 3 weeks now, so buckle up. There's preseason games this year. Woo!
It's actually the only NFL game I've ever gone to was a preseason game. I haven't actually gone to
really.
Yeah,
we go to at least 2 Eagles games a year.
I mean, going to Colts games is hard because if they're not playing the Jets, then it's had the truck out to Indianapolis, which I would love to go, but never gotten the opportunity.
I've been to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship when Penn State won the Big Ten championship. Let me tell you something. Once you get west of Pittsburgh, it's a whole lot of nothing until you get to Indianapolis. It's a brutal drive. It's a brutal drive, but Indianapolis is a nice city. I'd love
Lucas Oil is a great stadium too.
Really nice stadium. By the time I got into the stadium, I was rather abbreviated.
Inebriated.
So we won't talk about it, but it was a great game. It is a great stadium. Nice city. I would love to see a football game in every stadium. That would definitely be on my list to see the Eagles play in every stadium, but I've only seen the Eagles play in 3 stadiums so far. Lincoln Financial, which is obviously in Philly. I've seen them play at FedEx Field in Washington, and I've seen them play in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. I've been to AT&T Stadium for Eagles games and a Penn State game when they were in the Cotton Bowl. So I've been there quite a lot, actually. Now that I think about it, that stadium's mad. You want to talk about a stadium that sticks out. AT&T Stadium, it's all flat down there in Texas. And then you're coming in and you just see this massive, it looks like a spaceship. It really does. And you go in and all you want to do is look at that big time TV up there. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited. Football's going to be back. We'll get into college football soon. College football's actually going to be here before NFL. So, we have the player likeness has been approved by the NCAA.
Hey,
thank
let's
God.
Get NCAA.
Let's get NCAA 21 rolling. It won't be rolling this year. They actually said it won't be till 2023, which is kind of depressing. But it's in the works.
All the sweeter once we get it.
If this podcast, which let's hope it is, still going in 2023, I'm gonna have to, give the reins over to Taylor, and you're gonna have to find new co-hosts because all I'm gonna be doing is playing that game. I will literally make a career out of that. I will not touch anything else but that game.
Good.
It's just so good.
It's so fun to like have a team, and then like you can like do the thing where you like make a player and like or just control a team and like just be a championship like dynasty.
I always wanted to be. So obviously, before I went to Penn State, I still was a Penn State fan. I grew up growing up in Pennsylvania. Family went to Penn State. That's, and I always picked Penn State, and I always wanted to build them up to a dynasty. I would always play like, whoever was number one the next year. If it wasn't me, I'd always put them week one to knock them off. You could pick whoever you want. You could realign conferences. It was fun. I'm definitely excited to see. There's a couple remakes like on the newer platforms, like revised editions, but you can only do so much with that.
Yeah, so I resorted to like playing like Madden and like going to the rosters and like importing like
but it's
the
not
college.
The same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not even close.
I want to see like that Penn State whiteout. I want to see going into Columbus, Ohio, and
they always did. They played like the opening thing, like Ohio State would have like the band come out and make the Ohio.
Well, it would actually be the actual traditions, and and it was very
in the
personalized. So I want it back. Everybody wants it back. The nice thing is you don't have to worry about pre-ordering and sitting in a line anymore. If you have like one of the newer consoles, you could just download it right at home. And
yes, sir.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I got a PS5 now. I know you've had one.
Yes,
I know you got one like when they first came out.
I was a lucky one. Lucky one.
I got mine a little bit ago. Like
I think they're still having issues with that.
No, I don't want to talk about how much I had to pay to get it. I didn't pay a scalper, but I got it like a bundle.
Hey, well, I got a bundle. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap.
Not cheap, but you know what? I have it. So
we have it, and we will be playing. All right, so Gaza's gonna have to find two hosts entirely for a sports team wants college football.
We'll just start streaming.
We could start streaming. We could start streaming our games. College football brought to you by Sportz with a Z and a T. Put that in your back pocket, guys, because I know you're going to listen to this episode. So put that in your back pocket, and let's make that a thing. But no, good stuff as always, and another hour plus show this week. I know Taylor is doing some trivia in the area. I'm doing some trivia as well for the old Ghazi Bear. Where are you going? I know you're Wednesday.
Tipsy Moose.
Tipsy Moose, and I'm across the street pub down.
So if anyone's listening, they could probably go to yours. I mean, maybe if you listen early in the day tomorrow.
Yeah, if you listen early enough, you can stop by
the
Taylor.
Tipsy Moose in Albany,
or go to the across the street pub on
7:30
Ave, Albany. I believe mine's at 6:30 on Thursday. So we'll be doing that in for old Ghazi Bear, and then NBA Finals. Soccer matchups are going on. Did you see that the Tour de France crash?
I was going to bring that up to you, but we got sidetracked. But I was thinking about it like an hour ago when we were talking. But yeah, I was like, did you see when we started this podcast? But
wow!
Oh my gosh!
She was posing for a picture.
I know, she was just like, hey, hold the sign out in front of the fucking goddamn the whole race is happening. Turn around.
I think they said like all but like 14 racers got past that.
Yeah,
and the tour is actually suing the lady.
Oh yeah,
they're going
couldn't find her at first. She dipped real quick.
Well, I would dip too.
They finally found her.
Flee the country.
Yeah, they finally found her, and now she's going to be held accountable because, she ruined. I mean, I don't want to say ruined the lives of, but like, those cyclists work hard. They train like years.
12. They train years, 12 months around the clock for a 1 month of a bike race, and
you just screwed it up for
that to happen the first day.
Like, god damn, like. It's like, what are you thinking? Like, I would sue her too.
Sue her ass.
Yeah, for real. She deserves it.
Oh man,
god damn.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that. Well, I saw it on Sports Center, not Top 10. I was like, that's wild. That is absolutely wild. So a lot of fun stuff going on. We are presented by, as always, Mohawk Honda and Saving Face Barbershop. We don't want to forget about our boy Jeremiah up in Saratoga Springs. Go check him out up there. Nice little area. Saving Face Barbershop location off exit 13N. If you're going through the Northway, he can do at home cuts, but I recommend going in. Great atmosphere, great prices. He's going to make sure you get the cut that you want, especially with track season coming around here in 2 weeks. It's starting to get busy up here in the capital region. You want to look good for opening day I will be there. Maybe Taylor, maybe you'll show up on opening day on Thursday. Maybe we'll work something out. I know I'll definitely be there, but I got to get that fresh haircut to go along with it. You got to look good for opening day. Summer is starting to crank. It's starting to get into the dog days of summer. You want that fresh cut. So check out Jeremiah up again. He's on exit 13N up in Saratoga Springs. So go on in there and get that fresh look. But outside of that, we are presented by Godzilla Media. Hope you all had a very safe and happy 4th of July. Have a good week. Enjoy the NBA Finals. Enjoy all the sports out there, and we will catch you next week.
See ya.